Have you ever felt like you're fighting your own mind? Like, no matter how hard you try, you still give in to laziness, distraction, and the same old excuses? Now imagine waking up one day and realizing it doesn't have to be this hard. Conquer yourself, and you conquer the world. That's not just a quote. It's a system that ancient Buddhist monks lived by. A mental shift so powerful, it makes discipline feel natural. No force, no burnout, just flow. And here's the truth. The reason you struggle isn't because you're weak. It's because no one taught you the right way. So let me ask you, what if your mind could obey, not through willpower, but through understanding? In this video, I'll reveal a method that's been buried in time, and when you learn it, everything changes. If you get anything out of this video, just get that. That's all you need to know in life. And don't miss the bonus lesson at the end. It will shake you. Number 1. Discipline is an internal war. Your mind is a battlefield cloaked in silence. And the enemy? It wears your face. Every morning, a war begins, not outside you, but within. It's not your alarm clock, your workload, or your responsibilities that stand in your way. It's that soft voice in your head, the one that says, just 5 more minutes. You'll do it tomorrow. This is too hard. That voice is your lower self, and every time you listen, you lose ground. But what if I told you discipline isn't hard when you understand this ancient Buddhist truth? Discipline is not about forcing yourself into action. It's about waking up from the illusion that comfort is your ally. Buddha taught that suffering doesn't come from the world, but from attachment. Attachment to ease, to escape, to the temporary relief of doing nothing. But relief is not peace. Rule your mind, or it will rule you. That's not a metaphor, that's a warning. In Buddhist practice, the mind is not seen as a singular, unified voice. It's a storm of selves, the higher and the lower, the wise and the wild. One seeks liberation, the other seeks laziness dressed as self-care. When your body says rest, can your spirit still rise? Think about this. How many promises have you broken not from lack of talent, but from lack of control? You weren't defeated by the world. You were defeated by a craving inside your own mind. In Zen training, monks sit for hours in stillness, not because they enjoy it, but because it reveals the truth. Your mind rebels when discipline arrives, but that rebellion is not who you are. It's a visitor, a test, a voice you don't have to obey. The trick is to stop identifying with that voice. Watch it, witness it, treat it like a cloud passing through the sky. You don't follow every cloud, so why follow every thought? When the craving for distraction rises, pause, breathe, observe. Ask yourself, am I choosing growth or surrendering to comfort? Because every moment you act with intention instead of impulse, you win. Not against the world, but against the part of you that fears greatness. This is the silent victory. It doesn't come with applause, it won't trend, but it rewires your destiny. Buddhism teaches the mind is both the problem and the solution. When you reclaim authority over it, even once, the illusion of I can't begins to dissolve. Where are the cracks in your fortress? Where do your cravings steal your freedom? Write this in the comments. I choose to be my own prince, not ruled by cravings, not fooled by comfort, not distracted from truth. The discipline you seek is not about force, it's about presence. Peaceful, alert, unwavering presence. Because discipline isn't about feeling motivated, it's about choosing your future over your excuses. Every single day. 2. Build an unbreakable mindset. This ancient Buddhist trick makes discipline easy. It works every time. A mountain does not bend to the wind. It teaches the wind to pass. That's what true discipline looks like. Not force, not rigidity, but stillness. Immovable, calm, present. But let's be honest. Most of us are not mountains. We are leaves. Pulled by every distraction, shaken by every opinion, reacting to every wave of emotion. One setback and we spiral. One insult and our peace disappears. But here's the truth no one talks about. A disciplined mind is not hard. It's trained. Trained to stay still in storms. Buddhism doesn't ask you to run away from chaos. It teaches you how to sit in the middle of it and not flinch. The Buddha said, "Like a solid rock is not shaken by the wind, wise people falter not amidst blame and praise." That's the gold, the practice, the goal. What storm keeps shaking your peace? What emotion hijacks your clarity again and again? Let's get real. You don't need more motivation. You need stillness, not passive stillness, but a powerful inner anchor, one that doesn't crumble when life gets loud. And here's the ancient trick: deliberate exposure to discomfort. That's it. That's the secret most avoid, because it's not easy. Wake up earlier than you want to. Sit in silence when your mind screams for distraction. Delay a craving just to prove to yourself you can. Each time you do this, your mind changes shape. Not weaker, wiser. Not tougher, still. Discipline isn't about being aggressive. It's about being unmoved. Think of the monks who train in silence for hours, eyes open, back straight, no movement. Why? Because they know, if you can remain unmoved by your thoughts, you can face anything in life. Can you hold your stillness even when everything demands your reaction? Can you feel a craving rise and not obey it? Can you feel anger knock on your door and not invite it in? Most people let the world decide their mood, but a disciplined mind, it decides its own weather. Let this be your practice. Start with small storms. When you're tempted to scroll, pause. When you're running late, breathe. When someone criticizes you, listen, but don't react. Every moment of resistance is training. You are building a mind that doesn't collapse. Because when you stop reacting to life and start responding, you become like the mountain, unbothered by noise, unafraid of fire, unshakable in peace. This isn't about control, it's about freedom, the kind that isn't borrowed from perfect conditions, but built day by day inside your own mind. Where is your stillness hiding? Where do you keep folding when you should be standing? Write this in the comments. My peace is not negotiable. This is the path. This is the ancient trick. It doesn't always feel good, but it always works. Because in the end, discipline isn't about perfection. It's about presence. And once you build an unbreakable mindset, you don't chase peace anymore. You become it. 3. The choice to govern yourself. Your mind is a wild elephant, powerful, unpredictable, capable of great things, but only if you learn to guide it. Left unchecked, it runs toward every craving, every distraction, every fleeting desire. But when you become its gentle master, that same mind becomes a force of clarity, purpose, and peace. This is the ancient Buddhist key to self-discipline. Govern yourself, or be governed by the world. We chase external control, schedules, goals, hacks, believing discipline lives outside us. But true mastery begins within. Until you can govern your own thoughts, your desires will govern you. Until you can choose your response, your impulses will choose for you. Greater than conquering 1,000 enemies is conquering oneself. That's not a metaphor. It's the blueprint. Think about it. How many times have you made a promise to yourself, only to break it when comfort whispered louder than commitment? You didn't fail because of a lack of strength. You failed because you didn't pause. That's it. The space between impulse and action. That's where discipline lives. And most people skip it. The Buddhist masters teach that the first step to freedom is mindfulness, the ability to witness a thought without becoming it. You feel the urge to react, and you don't. You feel the craving to avoid effort, and you don't follow it. Who's truly in charge, you or your impulses? Can you pause before your next action and choose from clarity, not craving? This moment of pause is your training ground. When anger rises, don't speak. Pause. When your phone calls you, don't grab it. Pause. When fear grips you, don't shrink. Pause. This is not suppression, it's sovereignty. The wild elephant doesn't obey because it's chained. It follows the master who walks with patience and presence. Self-discipline doesn't grow from force. It grows from inner leadership. You can't punish yourself into power. You guide yourself there with intention, with compassion, with choice. So start here. The next time you feel that strong pull to quit, to lash out, to numb yourself, pause, take one breath, then ask, what would the wisest version of me do next? And act from that place. Over time, this pause becomes your power. You don't need more rules. You need more space, space to see clearly, space to choose. Because when you govern yourself, no one else has to. The world doesn't push you. You move through it, calm, intentional, free. Where do your cravings still control your compass? Where are you reacting instead of responding? Comment below. I choose to pause before I proceed. This is how you reclaim control, not by resisting the mind with aggression, but by meeting it with awareness. Because in the end, discipline isn't about restriction, it's about liberation. And once you lead yourself with clarity, the wild elephant bows and follows. 4. True power comes from discipline. A river doesn't conquer mountains by crashing down in one dramatic moment. It wins by returning every day without fail. Quiet, relentless, steady. That's what real discipline looks like, not a burst of energy or a flash of motivation, but the quiet decision to keep showing up even when you feel nothing, even when no one sees, even when every part of you begs to stop. Because true power doesn't roar, it endures. We live in a world obsessed with intensity, quick results, big moves, loud wins. But Buddhism teaches us that real power is subtle, silent, built through repetition. Discipline isn't a punishment, it's liberation. Every time you act without waiting to feel like it, you untangle yourself from the chaos of emotion and external approval. He who has power over himself is mightier than he who conquers cities. That's the difference between those who drift through life and those who shape it. The first waits for the perfect mood. The second moves regardless of it. Ask yourself this: are you letting motivation decide your destiny? Are your goals at the mercy of your emotions? If so, you're not weak. You're human. But there's a better way. Buddhism doesn't promise that you'll always feel inspired. It teaches that you don't need to be. Action doesn't need to be loud to be life-changing, just consistent. Discipline is a form of self-respect. It's telling yourself, I am worthy of effort, even on the days I feel empty. You don't brush your teeth only when you're excited. You do it because you know the cost of neglect. So, why treat your purpose differently? Start small. Wake up when you said you would. Do 5 minutes of what matters. Honor your word, not your mood. This is how a disciplined life is built, not in a day, but in thousands of silent moments when no one's watching and nothing feels magical. That river, it doesn't crash, it carves, and so can you. Every repeated act, Every workout, every meditation, every time you write, study, reflect, etches a path through your resistance. Until one day, what once felt impossible becomes your default. What would your life look like if you trusted consistency more than intensity? Imagine the strength you'd build if you stopped chasing perfect days and just committed to today. Write this in the comments. I choose persistence over perfection. Because this is the trick no one tells you. Discipline makes life easier. It removes decision fatigue. It silences the emotional roller coaster. You no longer ask, should I? You do. And in that doing, you discover freedom. This is the ancient Buddhist path. Steady effort, no rush, no need for applause, just the patient carving of purpose, day by day, breath by breath. Because in the end, the strongest person is not the one who moves mountains, but the one who returns to their path, no matter the weather. And that can be you. Starting now. 5. Build discipline as a living ritual. Discipline is not a cage. It's not meant to suffocate your freedom or dull your spirit. Discipline is a temple, sacred, quiet, and alive. The mistake we make is treating it like punishment. We chase rigid schedules, force routines, and expect joy from obligation. But monks don't chant out of pressure. They chant out of presence. They bow not to impress, but to awaken. Their discipline is devotion. And that ancient Buddhist wisdom can transform how we approach every single day. Your work is to discover your work, and then with all your heart, to give yourself to it. That's not just about your career. It's about your rituals, your mornings, your movement, your mindset. When you build discipline as a living ritual, you stop asking, do I have to do this? And start asking, how can I honor myself through this? What if your morning walk was a form of prayer? What if making your bed was a declaration of clarity? What if every small, repeated action was a way to reconnect with your highest self? Because true discipline doesn't begin with pressure. It begins with purpose. Ask yourself, does your daily routine align with your highest self or your lowest habits? Can you treat discipline as devotion instead of duty? You don't need to force yourself through life like a machine. You need to treat your life like a ceremony. That means creating rhythms that reflect who you want to become. Start your day not with chaos, but with clarity. Light a candle. Breathe. Write. Move. These are not just tasks. They are rituals that remind you, I am worth showing up for. Discipline doesn't have to feel hard. It becomes easier when it becomes sacred. Monks don't find peace in the absence of routine. They find it through routine. Because when you consistently do the same actions with full presence, something shifts. Your mind quiets. Your resistance dissolves. Your identity begins to change. That's the secret no one tells you. Discipline isn't the opposite of peace, it's the path to it. When your actions align with your values, your spirit rests. There's no more battle between what you say you want and what you actually do. There's just harmony. You don't need a monastery to live like this. You need intention. Wake up at the same time, not because you have to, but because it teaches you self-trust. Begin your work not with scrolling, but with silence, because your mind deserves a gentle beginning. Wind down at night, not with noise, but with stillness, because your soul needs space to return to itself. Write this in the comments. My discipline is my devotion. Because that is the shift, the ancient trick. Discipline becomes easy when it becomes sacred. When you stop forcing it and start honoring it. Don't turn your routines into chains. Build them into rituals. And over time, that temple of discipline becomes the place where you meet your clearest, calmest, most powerful self. Every day, without force, without fear, just devotion. 6. Conquer the moment not the mountain. You're not losing to life because you're lazy. You're losing because you're overwhelmed, drowning in 1,000 thoughts about a mountain you haven't even started climbing. That's where most people break, not at the summit, but at the sight of the distance. But here's what ancient Buddhist wisdom teaches. You were never meant to conquer the whole mountain. Just this step, just this breath. A master swordsman doesn't swing wildly to win. He sharpens his blade, slowly, quietly, with full presence, one breath at a time. He wins not by intensity, but by attention. And so do you. The past is already gone. The future is not yet here. There's only one moment for you to live. That moment, it's not tomorrow's goal or next month's promotion or the person you're trying to become. It's the task right in front of you. The next page, the next representative, the next honest breath. This is the Buddhist trick. Don't serve the illusion of the future. Serve the truth of now. Ask yourself, what task in front of you deserves your full presence right now? Can you drop the weight of future pressure and act in full nowness? Discipline isn't about doing everything. It's about doing one thing completely. That's where your power lives, not scattered across a dozen half-finished tasks, not in planning your entire year, but in the act you're avoiding right now. Your mind will try to outrun the moment. It will say, but what about everything else? That's the trap. That's how the mountain wins. But you don't need to climb it. You only need to take the step directly in front of you. And then another, and another. So here's your challenge. Every day, pick one thing. Do it fully. Ignore the rest until that one thing is done. Turn your phone off. Close every other tab. Bring your entire being into the task. Whether it's writing, studying, meditating, or resting, be all in. That's how you build unstoppable momentum. Most people wait for motivation to begin, but monks don't live by motivation. They live by mindfulness. They focus their energy like a sword, sharp, deliberate, present. No anxiety, no multitasking, just pure, rooted presence. And when you live like that, something incredible happens. You stop resisting. You stop rushing. The moment becomes enough, and discipline becomes effortless because it's no longer a fight. It's a flow. Write this in the comments. I conquer the moment, not the mountain. Because that's how real change happens, not through pressure, but through presence. Your mind wants to worry about the summit, let it. Then return to your step. Sharpen your focus like a blade. Give everything to this one task, and let the rest of the journey unfold, one breath at a time. That's the secret of discipline, and it works every time. 7. Fall in love with repetition. They say repetition is boring, that doing the same thing every day feels like a prison. But in the monastery, repetition is freedom. A monk sweeps the floor not to clean it, but to clean his mind. He bows the same way each morning, not out of duty, but devotion. In Buddhism, repetition is not mindless, it's mindful. It's a path to clarity, not a cage of routine. Most people run from repetition. They crave variety, excitement, novelty. But here's the truth. You don't become powerful by doing more. You become powerful by going deeper, and you only go deeper through repetition. The act you repeat becomes the mirror through which you face yourself. The real battle isn't the task, it's your attitude toward the task. To understand everything is to forgive everything. If you truly understand why discipline matters, you stop fighting it. You stop seeing it as punishment and start seeing it as purification. The ancient trick is this: fall in love with the thing you once resisted. Ask yourself, can you find peace in the repetition that once bored you? What task could become a meditation if done with devotion? Because that's what discipline really is. Not a grind, a meditation, a sacred ritual. Whether you're working out, writing, stretching, praying, or simply breathing. When done with presence, repetition becomes a spiritual act. It transforms you, not by pushing, but by polishing. Think of a musician repeating a single scale for hours, a sculptor chiseling the same motion, a martial artist practicing one strike until it becomes second nature. These aren't acts of boredom, they're acts of becoming. The beginner looks for stimulation, the master looks for stillness within the repetition. Here's what most don't realize. Repetition reveals what's hiding inside you. Your restlessness, your resistance, your pride. But if you stay with it, if you stay long enough, you'll find stillness underneath it all. And that stillness is where your power lives. So, let every routine become a ritual. Let brushing your teeth, folding clothes, doing dishes, writing that email become sacred. Not because they're important, but because how you do them trains who you are becoming. That's where discipline is born, not in grand gestures, but in humble repetitions done with care. Tomorrow morning, don't dread your routine. Honor it. Let it anchor you. Let it be the floor you sweep to clear your mind, the breath you follow to come home to yourself. Every small repetition is a chance to practice presence, and that's what makes it powerful. Write this in the comments. I turn repetition into devotion. Because the difference between suffering and mastery is how you show up to do the same thing again. Fall in love with the process. Find grace in the mundane. And let every repetition refine you into the person you were meant to become. That's not just discipline, it's liberation. And yes, it works every time. 8. Win the first battle of the day. Most people lose the day before it even begins. The alarm rings, and instead of rising, they roll over. They reach for their phone before their breath. They react before they remember who they are. But in the monastery, the morning is not something to survive, it's something to honor. Monks wake before the sun, not to punish themselves, but to align themselves, because they understand one sacred truth. The way you greet the sunrise is how your soul answers life. That's the ancient Buddhist trick most of the world forgets. Win the first battle of the day, and the rest of the war becomes easier. Each morning we are born again. What we do today is what matters most. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, today. And yet we drag yesterday's fatigue into this morning's opportunity. Discipline isn't about extremes. It's about how you show up when no one's watching. Ask yourself, do you command your mornings or surrender them to chaos? What would happen if the first hour of your day was sacred? Because discipline begins not with what you do, but with how you begin. That first decision, to rise instead of snooze, to breathe instead of scroll, to move instead of complain, is your first declaration of self-respect. You are not just waking up your body, you are waking up your life. The monk bows at dawn, not because he's forced, but because he chooses to start in reverence. Your morning is your temple, not a checklist, a ceremony. And here's the truth. You don't need to win the whole day, just the first hour. That first breath of stillness, that first choice of alignment, that first step into motion, it anchors the rest. Your nervous system remembers. Your mind calibrates. The day bends to the energy you set in the beginning. So wake before the noise. Breathe before the rush. Move before the doubt has time to speak. Even 5 minutes of silence, one act of intention, one cold shower taken with courage, that's enough to remind your mind who's in command. That's enough to shift your identity. Because discipline isn't a distant trait. It's a daily decision. And if you lose the first hour, don't abandon the day. Return to your breath. Reclaim the next moment. Because every second is a new sunrise when you're mindful. This is your challenge. Make the first battle of your day a win. Not for productivity, for power. Not to prove yourself, but to remember yourself. Write in the comments, I rise with purpose. Let the world sleep through life. You weren't made for that. You were made for clarity, for calm, for fire that starts in silence. Discipline doesn't begin with motivation. It begins with presence. Start the day on your terms, and the rest of the day will answer to you. That's not just a habit. That's self-mastery. And it begins tomorrow, at sunrise. 9. The discipline of letting go. We often imagine discipline as grit, grind, and relentless action. But what if the secret to real power lies not in holding on tighter, but in letting go? Imagine a hand clenched so tightly that nothing can enter or leave. That's what many of us do with our minds. We grip perfection, stress, deadlines, shame, and expectation. And then we wonder why we feel heavy, anxious, disconnected. Discipline isn't just the ability to push through, it's the wisdom to release what no longer serves. This is the discipline of letting go. It is not weakness, it's mastery. To let go is to be free. There's a quiet strength in the one who no longer needs to control everything. Buddhism teaches that suffering begins the moment we cling to thoughts, identities, routines, even goals. You might think overthinking is helping you stay sharp, but often it's a disguise for fear, a trap that looks like progress but feels like exhaustion. Ask yourself, what are you gripping so tightly that it's causing you suffering? The disciplined mind isn't just full of focus, it's full of space. Like a Zen monk sweeping the same floor every morning, not to clean dust, but to clear the mind. He's not obsessed with achievement. He's practicing release. In that stillness, something powerful happens. Clarity rises. Your best ideas come not from tension, but from presence. That's why sometimes the most powerful discipline is the ability to do nothing, to sit, breathe, feel, and allow. You're not lazy for resting. You're not failing for stepping back. Letting go of toxic effort is not giving up. It's realigning. It's choosing the sustainable over the dramatic. Discipline isn't always found in the sprint. It's often in the pause. Can you practice discipline not by doing more, but by releasing what weighs you down? Let go of the need to be perfect. Let go of chasing every opportunity out of fear you'll miss your worth. Let go of trying to fix the past or control the future. Create a rhythm that honors your nervous system. Build systems that include space. Because a mind that knows how to rest knows how to return. And that is what creates longevity. So today, make space. Close the extra tabs. Sit without music. Walk without a destination. Breathe without a goal. These moments of emptying are not a break from discipline. They are discipline. This is the ancient Buddhist trick. Not every battle is won by force. Some are won by surrender. The clenched fist may look ready, but it cannot receive. Let this be your reminder. Discipline is not just about how much you can carry. It's about how wisely you can release. And sometimes your next breakthrough won't come from pushing harder, but from finally letting go. So ask yourself one more time, what do you need to release right now to be free? 10. Master the art of inner stillness. Imagine your mind as a lake. On a stormy day, the surface is restless, waves crash, reflections shatter, and everything feels chaotic. But when the lake is calm, it mirrors the sky with perfect clarity, revealing what lies beneath without distortion. This is the power of inner stillness. a sacred space where discipline is not about frantic action, but serene awareness. Many believe that to be disciplined means to be constantly busy, to fill every moment with doing. But what if true discipline begins with learning to be still? To resist the urge to escape your thoughts or distract yourself from discomfort, and instead to sit quietly with your own mind. The ancient Buddhist wisdom reminds us, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. In that quiet space, clarity arises, not from force but from silence. Ask yourself, how often do you mistake busyness for progress? How many hours have you spent racing through tasks, checking boxes, yet feeling more scattered than accomplished? This restless motion is the mind's way of avoiding the uncomfortable truth. That real power lies in stillness. When you can sit with yourself in silence, even for just one moment a day, you train your mind to recognize what matters. You start to see distractions for what they are, and your actions become rooted in clarity instead of chaos. Discipline, then, is not a constant battle or a relentless push. It is a gentle mastery of your own attention. It is the calm lake that reflects truth, even when the storms rage around it. This stillness teaches you to respond instead of react, to pause instead of rush. It creates space between impulse and choice, allowing you to move with intention. Imagine waking up each morning and choosing to spend just 5 minutes in quiet. No phone, no noise, no agendas, just breath and presence. This simple ritual becomes the foundation of your day. It anchors your mind, sharpens your focus, and grounds your will. Over time, this habit builds resilience. The chaos of external pressures no longer pulls you off course because you've trained your mind to return to stillness. Discipline becomes effortless because it flows naturally from a place of inner calm. Like a river that moves steadily without force, your actions follow the clarity that silence brings. You no longer need to exhaust yourself chasing motivation or fighting distractions. Instead, you cultivate a quiet strength that is unshakable. So today, make a choice. Choose to master the art of inner stillness. Let go of the need to fill every moment with noise or movement. Build one still moment into your daily life. In that pause, watch how your mind clears, how your purpose sharpens, and how your discipline becomes not a burden, but a peaceful practice. Remember, the calm lake reflects your truest self, not the storm around you. Find that calm, and discipline will follow, easily, naturally, every time. 11. Small choices are sacred. Every great ocean begins with a single drop. That drop may seem insignificant, a tiny ripple lost in a vast sea, but given time, it accumulates, it nourishes, it shapes the world. Discipline works the same way. It doesn't demand that you remake your entire life overnight or conquer impossible mountains in a single leap. Instead, it invites you to honor the small choices, those tiny actions that, when repeated, build unshakable momentum. The ancient Buddhist saying, "A jug fills drop by drop," reminds us that greatness is not a single event, but a collection of sacred moments, each one a step closer to mastery. Consider your own daily life. What micro-choice might you be overlooking, dismissing as too small or unimportant? Is it waking up just 5 minutes earlier? Saying no to one distraction? Choosing a single healthy meal? These aren't just tasks. They are sacred acts of self-respect, each one an affirmation that you are committed to your higher self. When you recognize the power hidden in these tiny moments, discipline stops feeling like a heavy burden and starts feeling like a gentle rhythm, a sacred dance you participate in daily. Imagine tracking one small win every day. It doesn't have to be monumental. Maybe it's finishing that one page of study, taking a mindful breath before reacting, or writing a sentence in your journal. By celebrating these victories, no matter how small, you build a reservoir of confidence and purpose. Momentum is not created by giant leaps, but by persistent, humble steps. Each small success adds another drop to your ocean of discipline, shaping a life of structure and calm from the inside out. This approach dissolves overwhelm. When you focus on the sacredness of the simple, the pressure to be perfect or productive at all times fades away. Instead, you cultivate a mindset that values consistency over intensity, presence over perfection. Discipline becomes less about willpower and more about reverence for your own journey, no matter how gradual. The ancient wisdom whispers that mastery is patient and gentle. It does not demand victory today, but promises growth tomorrow. So today, pause and ask yourself, what small choice am I underestimating? What tiny action can I honor as sacred? See that choice not as insignificant, but as a precious drop destined to fill your jug. Discipline doesn't require grand gestures. It thrives on respect for the small. By embracing these daily rituals with mindfulness, you create a foundation so strong that the external chaos cannot shake you. Your life begins to flow like a calm river, steady and unstoppable. Remember, the path to self-mastery is paved by these simple acts. Discipline isn't about wrestling with your will every day. It's about falling in love with the sacredness of each small step. Start with one today. Cherish it. Watch how that single raindrop, repeated again and again, fills your ocean and makes discipline easy, natural, and unbreakable. Bonus lesson: make your mind your ally. The mind is a mirror, but one that must be cleaned daily to reflect truth clearly. Without care, it becomes smudged with doubts, fears, and distractions that distort your view of reality, and more importantly, your view of yourself. If you don't train your mind, it trains you. This is the ancient Buddhist trick that makes discipline easy. Learn to make your mind your ally, not your enemy. Discipline begins in the quiet space between your thoughts, where clarity and calmness emerge. When your inner dialogue is chaotic, filled with blame, worry, or harsh self-criticism, discipline feels like a battle. But when you cultivate calmness, clarity, and compassion within, discipline becomes natural, almost effortless. Think about your own mind right now. Is it lifting you up or limiting you? Are you the master of your thoughts, or are you caught in a loop of negativity and self-sabotage? The mind is powerful. It shapes your reality, your emotions, your actions. The Buddha said, "All that we are is the result of what we have thought." What belief do you carry that is quietly sabotaging your discipline? Maybe it's the idea that you're not strong enough, not capable, or that discipline means deprivation and struggle. These thoughts are not facts. They are habits that can be changed. The first step to turning your mind into your greatest ally is mindfulness. Notice your thoughts as they arise, without judgment or resistance. Catch the negative patterns before they pull you into chaos. When a limiting thought appears, don't push it away aggressively, but gently replace it with intention. If doubt creeps in, remind yourself of your purpose. If impatience arises, breathe into patience. Over time, this daily cleaning of the mind clears the path for a disciplined life. It becomes easier to focus, to choose action over procrastination, to stay calm when temptation whispers loudly. This practice transforms discipline from a heavy burden into a fluid rhythm. Your mind, once a battlefield, becomes a calm sanctuary. You no longer fight against your impulses, but guide them wisely. Your inner dialogue shifts from "I can't" to "I choose." You realize that discipline is not about forcing yourself, but about cultivating a mindset that naturally aligns with your goals and values. Imagine waking each day with a mind that supports you, a mirror so clear that your intentions shine brightly. You respond to challenges with calm focus, not frantic reaction. The distractions that once derailed you now pass like shadows across the surface, unable to penetrate your stillness. This is the power of a trained mind. So today, start the simple ritual of cleaning your mental mirror. Practice mindfulness, catch those sabotaging beliefs, and replace them with your highest intention. This ancient Buddhist trick doesn't just make discipline easier, it transforms your entire approach to life. When your mind is your ally, discipline becomes not a fight, but a flow, effortless and unshakable. Quick summary of the principles. Discipline is an internal war. True discipline begins by conquering the inner battle between your higher self and your impulsive desires. It's about rising above your emotions and acting with intention. Awareness of your inner resistance is the first step to mastering it. Build an unbreakable mindset. An unshakable mind stands firm through life's storms. By consistently exposing yourself to discomfort, you train resilience. This mental strength becomes your foundation for unstoppable discipline. The choice to govern yourself. Self-mastery means ruling your impulses instead of being ruled by them. With mindfulness and awareness, you begin to lead your actions with wisdom instead of craving. This is the true power of inner freedom. True power comes from discipline. Discipline isn't about intensity, it's about quiet, persistent effort. With daily commitment, you build strength over time, turning ordinary moments into extraordinary results. Build discipline as a living ritual. Make discipline sacred by treating it as a daily ritual of self-respect. When your routines are aligned with your values, they elevate you instead of exhausting you. Purposeful habits create lasting transformation. Conquer the moment, not the mountain. Stay fully present in each task rather than being overwhelmed by distant goals. Mastering one moment at a time creates a disciplined and focused life. Everything meaningful begins in the now. Fall in love with repetition. Mastery comes through devotion to repetition. When you embrace the process instead of rushing results, discipline becomes peaceful and enjoyable. Repetition is not punishment, it's precision. Win the first battle of the day. How you begin your morning shapes your entire day. Taking charge of your first hour builds momentum, clarity, and control. It's the anchor of a successful, disciplined life. The discipline of letting go. Discipline also means knowing what to release. Perfectionism, overthinking, or toxic effort. Letting go brings peace and flow. Sometimes, surrender is the highest form of control. Master the art of inner stillness. Stillness is strength. A calm mind sees clearly and acts wisely. When you stop reacting and start responding from inner clarity, discipline becomes your natural state. Small choices are sacred. The small, consistent actions you take shape your destiny. Discipline isn't about giant leaps. It's about honoring the next right step every day. Progress is the reward of daily intention. Make your mind your ally. Your thoughts create your discipline. By observing, cleansing, and directing your mind, you shape your entire life. A trained mind naturally walks the path of peace, focus, and self-control. Discipline is not about punishment, pressure, or perfection. It's about power. The power to choose yourself over distractions. The power to live from clarity, not chaos. And the power to show up for your life with peace and purpose day after day. This isn't a prison, it's your liberation. Each principle above is not a rule to follow, but a way of being, a way to wake up, take control, and live fully aligned with your higher self. The world outside will always tempt you with noise, but true control begins when you master your inner world. Silence becomes your strength. Stillness becomes your sword. Zen teaches us that when the mind is disciplined, the path becomes clear. The disciplined life is not rigid, it's deeply alive. It flows like water, but carves through stone. It lets go of what doesn't serve and focuses on what truly matters. This is how we become free. Take back your mornings, reclaim your attention, practice stillness, respect the small wins. Do not wait for motivation. Build your rhythm and let the discipline carry you beyond your doubts. One choice at a time, you're sculpting your future. To control your life, control your mind. To master your mind, master your discipline. Let go of chaos. Embrace the calm. The time to take control of your life is now. Like and share this video. Share your opinion in the comment box. Subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful life.